Hello and welcome to the Draft Social Media Podcast. It's what social media managers are talking about. I'm Laura and today I'm joined by some great members of the Draft team. We've got Senior Social Media Manager Nicole.
Hi.
Social Media Manager Ellie.
Hello.
And Social Media Assistant Chloe.
Hi.
So as always in our coffee break episodes, we all bring a topic to the table that we want to have a chat about and get each other's thoughts on, over a cuppa of course. This week on the coffee break episode, we're going to be discussing all things Netflix. And I've got a trusty coffee with me. How about you guys? What are you drinking?
Tea.
I'm on the waters today. You know what I've really gotten into recently? Chai lattes. Don't know if anyone else has, but they've been good. They're keeping me warm in these cold times.
Yes.
I swear now it's all about having a hot bevy, like only to warm your hands up, not even to drink. Like,
Sometimes I'll just get hot water in a mug just to hold the hot water. Like,
I do that in the evenings all the time. Like I'll make a hot chocolate, not because I want to drink one, because I'm like, oh, it's cold outside, so I'll make a hot chocolate.
just for the vibes.
Just for the vibes. Just for the aesthetics. I mean, it doesn't even go on social. It's just for my own peace of mind. So I've got a question to get us started. What is your all-time favourite series to binge watch? Chloe, do you want to start us off?
Ooh. I feel like the obvious answer is Friends, although in recent years that's controversial. I think people are realising they don't actually like Friends. But I would say my all-time favourite is Community.
Oh, I've not heard of that
one.
one.
If you haven't seen it, you need to watch it. It's so funny. It has Donald Glover, Childish Gambino in it, and then a few other really I can't remember the other actors because I only watched Donald Glover, but it's really funny. It's about a group of people who go to a community college, and it's just it's good.
Love that. Nicole?
I go through so many phases with shows. I just binge watch it, I watch it all, and then I never watch it again. It's maybe a sad habit because I just forget about all these really cool things that I've watched. Trying to think of the last show that I binged was maybe fully was The Office, the US version. I think I got through all of that pretty quickly. I'd recommend that.
Good choice.
Yeah, I think I'd probably go with that. But I go through stuff so quickly and then forget about it. So it's always a hard question when people ask.
See, I'm the complete opposite. I can't name many series that I've only watched once. I'm quite a... I'll go back to that kind of person. Ellie,
It's
what about you?
comfort to watch stuff you know.
Yeah, definitely. Ellie, what about you?
I last binge watched Desperate Housewives. Has anyone seen that? I'm obsessed. I literally watched it from series 1 through to the end, and then I said to my parents, "You've got to watch this," and then just watched it all of them again. Literally the whole thing. There's 8 series.
Oh my god.
I love it.
Is that Real Housewives where it's different locations, or is it just the one?
No, it's it's not a reality TV. So it's just a series about desperate women.
Housewives.
Wives.
No, I love that. I've never watched Desperate Housewives or the one that you said, Chloe, either. The reality TV
You're
one.
missing out. Well, there you go. That's what you know what you're going to watch next. So.
I know. It's not until I talk to people that I've realised there's things that I haven't watched. I always think I've watched everything.
Missing out.
My most recent binge watch has been Schitt's Creek on Netflix. Shortly followed. So I actually watched that and then straight away started rewatching it because I loved it so much. And then I realised that was really sad. So I thought I'll move on to Modern Family. So that's what I've been watching the last few days. And I think it's things like that. So they're just such easy watches, real escapism. And the episodes are quite short, so they just they just blend into one long episode. But yeah, so what would you say was your Netflix show highlight from 2020, Ellie?
Yeah, I agree with you. Schitt's Creek, 100%. Like I watched it all in such like a short span of time. I was just obsessed. Like I want to be friends with them. Like, and I started doing like, is it Alexis? Has anyone else, you like Nicole and Chloe? Have you seen Schitt's Creek?
Bits
I know
of.
Alexis does.
Not
So
really.
do you know Alexa? Alexis even on there? No, one of the characters. Like I've started doing her impressions like in my day-to-day life now. Like I'll just like transform into her. Like do you just like pick a character from a TV show that you like and then just start incorporating them into your like personality? Or is that just me? Like, I'm half
Good
Ellie,
tip.
half her now. Yeah.
No, was that your like show highlight from 2020?
Yes.
For sure.
Yes, I
Love
loved
that.
it. I would recommend.
So good, so good. And I actually agree, like I think because I've like rewatched it in such a short amount of time, like you just end up picking like elements of the character and just like applying it, or
Exactly.
suddenly there's like memes or gifs that like start to make sense that didn't before and things like that.
It's like being in a little like an in joke that you're now a part of.
Yeah, definitely. What about you, Chloe?
I don't know. I mostly spent 2020 on other streaming platforms, but from Netflix, I have to put Emily in Paris up there. Wow, why am I giving such controversial love them or hate them like Netflix recommendations today? But Emily in Paris was a good one. I definitely jumped on that. I also really liked Cobra Kai, which I think I've recommended before, but I had like no idea what it was. I watched it based off the trailer, but pretty much it's like the two dudes from the original Karate Kid, but they're like full grown men now, and then they start their own karate dojos and have this full like warfare. It's so weird, but it's so good. So yeah, if you haven't seen that one, definitely jump on it. And I haven't even seen the Karate Kid. I've seen the Jaden Smith Karate Kid, but not the original one, and I still enjoyed it. So
I never watched Emily in Paris, but wasn't like she's a social media manager, right? Like what was the reputation like for us? I want to know.
I
it was
found
a bit
it
painful.
Sorry. I don't know about you. I found it to be so overly stereotypical. I loved it. I'm the same as Chloe. I absolutely loved it. But I think I would have loved it more if I wasn't a social media manager.
It was very like, I remember there's like just one scene in the first or second episode where she's talking to a client or to her new managers, and she's just like spitting out all these like marketing buzzwords, and I'm like, do you even know? Like, yeah, okay, that's kind of like marketing, but also this is so clearly like meant for an audience that like has never worked in marketing, and it's like seems really glamorous. So I kind of like to watch it for that reason, where I was like, please, but yeah, it was kind of like, it's one of those shows where that's her job, but it's not like massively like around that. She then turns into an influencer, and then she turns into like a love interest. So I don't know.
And I think the way it was kind of like, she'd have a client and she had to come up, with this amazing social media campaign, and they made it seem like you can come up with these ideas in 5 minutes and execute them the next day, and then you'll get 10,000 followers, and like your brand will become worldwide, and it was just all like totally unrealistic like expectations. But again, that's kind of, I guess, what made it good in a way, because I always think about like these kind of things, like for example EastEnders. Like, I used to be obsessed with EastEnders, and people would say, but like, oh, they just argue all the time and this happens, it's so dramatic. And I'm like, yeah, but if there was like a soap about my life, it would be so boring. Like, it has to have that element of like unrealistic nature about it in order for it to be interesting. I don't know.
No, I agree. No one wants to watch this. Your first post gets 0 likes, your second post gets 2 likes, your third post maybe gets 5. Like,
Exactly.
So
exactly. What Netflix shows have you all recently been watching? Anything interesting?
I've been not just Netflix shows, but Netflix movies. I really like because it is my favorite season at the moment, awards season. So there's lots of really good films coming out. I watched Malcolm and Marie the other day, which has Zendaya and John David Washington, and it's literally just them two arguing the whole time. If anyone ever watched Marriage Story, it's kind of like that. Definitely recommend it. I feel like there was another one recently. The Trial of Chicago 7 was really good. I think Netflix actually come out with some really good films. So I've been trying to keep up with the stuff they're bringing out in time for, if the Oscars ever happen in April, who knows? It's going to be a weird Oscars, right? Like, all the awards are going to be so weird because, like, there won't be an audience. It'll be celebrities from home. And, like, it's always awkward in any kind of award show when the celebrity has, like, a pre-recorded thank you message. And it's just going to be like that for the whole show. Not sure how it's going to go. But, yeah, I've been watching a lot of films. Not just shows, actually. I quite like the films on there.
And I think, like you say, one, it's a really, really great time. Like, so many new films coming out. And two, it's, like, the perfect time of year in the sense of the season. Like, and the fact that we're all in lockdown as well, like there's more time to sit and watch films. And again, going back to, like, the aesthetics, like the, you know, Friday evening, like sitting watching a film, like sometimes it's just nice to have that, like, escapism.
We have nothing else to talk about other than, like, new films, right? So it's the only thing keeping up conversation these days, I find.
It is. It really, really is. Yeah. It is.
I love that though, because it's like when the whole Tiger King thing came out on Netflix, it was like we were all, like, everyone around the world, like, you could just, like, say, like, his name and everyone would know it. Like, we all were watching it, all going through the same motions. Like, it's a nice sense of community.
Yeah,
whereas
definitely.
like when you can't talk about like EastEnders to someone in the States, you know, because they wouldn't, like, get it. Whereas, like, you could talk about Tiger King anywhere and everyone would get it. Like, I love that.
Yeah, definitely. And I would have said, like, Tiger King was my show highlight from 2020. I think it also comes with that kind of nostalgic first lockdown feel as well. And like you say, those were the days. I thought those times were bad. So yeah, it kind of gives you, like you say, that talking point, that common ground with people as well. It's one thing, like, I absolutely love about Netflix films and Netflix series is you just always have something to talk about with someone.
And everyone watches them as well. Like, I feel like Netflix is the king of, like, promotion. Like, I'll watch something made by Netflix, like Tiger King, for example. Like, I probably typically wouldn't watch that, and I didn't watch it for a really long time after it came out. But, like, the sheer power, like, from Netflix and people watching it all around the world, and even, like, the way they drop like new series, like for example Bridgerton or You, when they announce that they're doing a new series, they do it in such, like, a creative and cool way where I'm like, yeah, I'll give that a watch, like, that seems cool. Or it gets to the point where, like, everyone's trying to talk to you about Tiger King. I'm like, okay, well, I'm clearly, like, missing out on this social phenomenon. Like, I'll watch it just so people don't judge me, and then you actually do get really into it, and then you're part of the joke. So
yeah.
They like coined binging, right? Like, Orange is the New Black? It was like the first sort of big series for them, and they just released it all at once, and people were like, what is this? Like, we're getting it all at once? That's so weird. And you had to catch up. Like, you had to watch it quick in order to understand what people are talking about. So, like, they changed it because we were so used to getting things on a weekly basis that now you had to catch up and, like, watch it really quickly just so you could enjoy it with, like, everyone else online. So it's pretty cool. Like, that's just a thing now. Like, it's weird when it's weekly. I don't like it. I want it.
Do you prefer weekly episodes, or would you prefer it all in one? Because like, some things like The Crown came out all in one, which at, like, the time of release I was like, yes, like, all in one, thank you. But then I've watched it in a day and I'm like, oh no, back to having nothing to watch. So I don't know, I like having things to enjoy too. Like, on a Friday night, I'm like, yes, it's The Crown night, like, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I feel that with, like, ITV or, like, BBC or, like, 5-parters, I kind of enjoy. That being said, when there's the option, like, when ITV or BBC upload them all at once, I watch them all at once. But I understand what you mean in the sense that sometimes it's quite nice when they're on a certain day of the week and then you look forward to that day and you know that's coming up. But I totally agree with what you were saying, Chloe, about like trending shows. You feel like you have to jump on the bandwagon to be able to be like part of that trend and join in the conversation and understand what people are talking about. And that's exactly why I watched Bridgerton, because I just saw and the thing was as well, when I first started seeing stuff, I didn't even know it was a Netflix show. I just started seeing like Bridgerton and I was like, what is this Bridgerton? Like, I don't know what it is. Is it a place that I've never heard of? I don't know. And then it started, you know, obviously then it came to light that it was the Netflix series released on Christmas Day, Boxing Day, around that time. And I was like, I have to watch this. I have to know what everyone's talking about and join in that conversation. Did anyone else watch Bridgerton?
I did. I barely made it through, to be fair. What sold me, my sister told me it was like Gossip Girl in the 1800s, and I was like, I'm there. And then it was kind of slow and I was like almost giving up. And then I hate it when shows do this thing where it's really slow and then like one episode, the episode you're about to stop watching, it's like a cliffhanger ending and you're like, like now I have to keep watching. So I mean it was okay. I'm glad to have experienced it, but
did you finish it
again? Yeah.
I'm the same. Like I purely watched the first episode because of the hype and everyone was talking about it and it's on the homepage of everyone in the country, so everyone's going to click on it. And I couldn't get through the first episode, to be honest. But I have heard like it gets better. I think there's lots of romance in it. You guys will know. I didn't get to that point because I was like,
episode 5.
I couldn't do it. I've heard of episode 5.
If you've seen it.
If you know, you know.
Yeah. I never made it there, so I don't know. I couldn't get into it. I'm sure if I gave it another go, I'd enjoy it, but I think I just expected it to be like a little bit more lighthearted. And I remember getting through the first episode, and I was like, I only watched one episode. That felt like 3. Like I was really confused. But maybe I'll give it another go one day. Just for you, Laura. I see your face. Just I might. I'll give it another go.
I think the thing is with Bridgerton, I was the exact same. I think halfway through the first episode, I was like, I don't know if this is for me. Just couldn't quite get to grips. Where is this going? Like it's just the kind of classic kind of plot, if that makes sense. You can kind of predict it. Yeah, the key thing with series, and I don't know if you'll agree, is getting past that first sort of episode or 2 episodes and then starting to fall in love with the characters in a way. Not literally, but yeah, just getting to know the characters, and then you just start enjoying the series more. But I will say, I don't know if there's anything worse than when you recommend a series to someone, you hype it up and you're like, you have to watch it, it's so good, and they go to watch it and they say, oh, I just couldn't get into it. Is there anything worse?
I mean, bad news for you then, Ellie and Laura. I got hyped onto Schitt's Creek like by the whole internet, and I couldn't get past the first episode, and the episodes are only 20 minutes, so
I'm the same. I watched a few episodes and couldn't continue.
I had
Such a
this
divide.
issue though. My sister made me watch it, and after 2 episodes I was like, no, not my thing. And then I revisited it like 2 months later, gave it a chance, and I was like, okay, I'm in love. Like, this is it. This is it for me.
But so many people have said that, like, so many people about Schitt's Creek are like, oh my god, you have to get to season 2 or 3 before it gets good. I'm like, do I have the time to watch something I don't enjoy until the second season, like, starts? Like, no. I need it to be good from the beginning. I need it to, like, hook me. So yeah, sorry.
I do know what you mean. There's an element of commitment when you go into a series, and you do have to personally decide whether you're ready to take that commitment on or not. Very deep, but it's things you've got to think about.
Yeah. It's a long-term relationship. Like,
It definitely is. I know, like, recently I actually last Wednesday, I think it came out, and last Wednesday was when I watched it all, was crime documentary 4-parter on Netflix called Crime Scene, The Investigation of Cecil Hotel. I don't know if you'd seen.
I've seen that.
Yeah, like, that was another one that it wasn't so much people talking about it on social, it was more the articles I was seeing about the plot of it. And I kept reading, and I don't know about you guys, but love a crime documentary. Yeah, and again, that had me hooked, and I liked that it was only 4 episodes as well, because I felt like that was, you know, it wasn't too much of a commitment. It was just right. It was an easy, do it in the day, think about it for the evening, done. Recommend it.
What's it about?
So it's about this hotel in downtown LA that has back in the day, like a few years ago, had really bad reputation. Like, loads of bad things would just happen there, and like murders would happen, and murderers like used to like live there, and it was just this crazy hotel in the middle of what was like a really poor area. There was lots of crime, all of that. And I think it was in 2013, a 21-year-old girl went travelling and stayed at this hotel and then like disappeared. And it's basically like that whole like investigation about that. And obviously you learn about the hotel and its background and why it was built and all of that. I mean, that sounds a little bit boring, but it's very, it just had me hooked. I mean, it has a little dabbles in some conspiracy theories as well. I don't know if that...
Interesting.
Yeah, that one's actually really interesting because it shows you how, you know, you're saying about like the internet can build a community sort of thing. Like, it makes you understand how like you can see a clip, like for instance with the Cecil Hotel, it shows you a clip of the girl before she went missing in the lift before she goes. And like that went viral on social media, and like everyone turns into like detectives, and like half of the documentary is about like everyone else's theories, like just YouTubers, like just random people like coming up with theories, and like they just, honestly, it went like viral. Like I saw it on YouTube before I saw it in the documentary series. Like, it's crazy how, like, you know, did you watch that one on Netflix as well about the don't
cats?
Mess with cats? Yeah, it's like that kind of thing. Yeah,
like I think they're called internet sleuths.
Yes, that's it. That's what they say on the documentary.
Is that the phrase where it's people that or like have, I don't know, like basically investigate crimes off their own terms and from their like social media following and that kind of thing. They pick up on clues and investigate and all of that. Very, very interesting.
Tea.
And they can actually help solve the cases sometime as well. Like, it's crazy.
I think it just goes to show like the power of the internet as well. The power of what we can all do via the internet and via social. So just leading on from that, like, what do you think, because I haven't quite figured it out, what do you think makes like Netflix and Netflix shows so popular?
I think it all comes down to like everything we just said, right? Like the community around it, and they have such, I mean, I haven't looked at the numbers, but the millions and millions of users that they have. Netflix, like, unlike a cinema, I guess kind of like a cinema, but unlike a cinema, you're sitting at home, they have the power to choose what every single person sees. So they put Bridgerton on the homepage of every single user. A lot of people are going to watch that. Like, they have so much control over what people watch. Like, I know it probably seems like we're deciding, but really, if, you know, if it's on the homepage, you're going to look at it. So I think it's so interesting how, like, they're like little puppeteers on what we're all watching, and, like, it really affects, like, social media, what people are talking about. Even if people hate it, people are going to talk about that as well, not just if they love it. So the fact that, like, they can just put something out there, you know, well, there's all the marketing around it as well, but even just like the placement on your screen. I remember watching a video about like the different images that they use. Like they can figure out what like title cards are performing best to move that around and try and get people into watching. It's like a whole thing. I'm turning it into a conspiracy theorist right now. But basically, I just think they hold the cards and like in popular culture, like to a certain extent. It's kind of crazy, and a lot of the streaming platforms have that. But in a time where we're all just sitting at home, it's like perfect for them because we're all just suckers and we're all just gonna watch it. Like I know I am, so it works.
Yeah, very, very good point. I think you've hit the nail on the head there with that.
Yeah, it's so hard. Like I've been like trying to think of a response, but like I just don't know what it is. Like Netflix, tell us your secret. But I think it definitely has to do with like they're really good at timing things. So for example, like they will release all their new Christmas movies at Christmas time. Obviously, like Valentine's Day. Yesterday they just dropped To All the Boys I've Loved Before, the like threequel or whatever you call it. I don't know. I think like the actors as well. They like are very strategic with their actors. Like no one had heard of Noah Centineo before. To All the Boys I've Loved Before and that kind of thing. So it's. I just, like, I don't know.
They have something for everyone, don't they? Like, we've talked about crime series, and we've talked about Tiger King, and we've talked about Bridgerton. Those are all different, like, genres. So.
Totally different. Yeah, I think you're right again. Like, they just cater for everyone. There's a series or there's a film for everyone on there. And I think that's probably the key that they fit. Cool. So normally we would do feeds to follow in this section, but I thought I'd mix it up this month and I'd go for TV series or film recommendations. So Nicole, do you have any series or film recommendations put out there?
I do. I have. It's not on Netflix, but it's on Amazon Prime, so a similar streaming service. It's called The Bold Type. I think in the US it's on like Freeform or whatever it's called. But it's a really cool show. It's based on these three like women in the mid-20s. They work at this fashion magazine, and one of them is like head of social media, so we can all relate to her, which is quite fun. I'd really recommend it. And they're just like, it's a bit of fun. They're living their life. They get into all kinds of, dramas, but sometimes the episodes like do kind of go into more serious topics. And because they're working at a magazine, like the digitalization of that and how like is like print versus online is quite interesting. And as I said, one of the main characters is head of digital, so like there's always some fun like social thing she's doing and like an event for social and stuff, which always makes me laugh. But I've been binging that and I'm almost at the end and I'm quite sad about it, but I would recommend it because it's good.
Love that, thank you. Ellie?
If you haven't already, then watch The Crown. Like, just give in to the hype, because I was like really resistant at first. I was like, no, it's not my thing, but it will be your thing. Trust me. Even if you think it's not going to be, it will be. Just give in. That's what I would say.
That's another one for me that I've tried, and I'm like, I just don't think it's for me.
Oh my god! So like, maybe a week after I watched it, I was like talking like the Queen for like honestly.
Amazing. Yeah, I'll definitely have to give that another try. What about you, Chloe?
I was just doing a live Google as you guys were chatting because I just remembered I think it's on Netflix, but it's a TV series created by Mindy Kaling, and it's called Never Have I Ever, I think. And it's just like a really good TV series. I really hope she's making another one about a girl. I'm trying to remember what it's about because I watched it a while ago. But she basically, it's just got a lot of diversity in it. The main character, I think, is Indian, and then she has like a friend who's like exploring her sexuality, and it kind of goes through like her journey through high school, and then she like meets this. It's kind of similar to All the Boys I've Loved Before. Like this nerdy girl like makes friends with the jock and then they end up dating. It's quite good. That or Drag Race, which is on Netflix at the moment. There's a new season out. I've been loving watching Drag Race. It's one of the things that I look forward to every week on a Thursday night for the UK, Saturday for the US version. So yeah.
I was going to
Amazing.
ask, like, are you watching the US or the UK? Because I know there's a UK one now, right?
I'm watching both, and I have to say, I think the general consensus from what I've seen online is that the UK version is so much better than the US version this season.
Oh.
Like, although I find it kind of frustrating that they released both seasons at the same time, which is awesome because, like, double the content, but at the same time, when I'm watching the US version, I'm trying to, like, I get confused. I'm like, oh, but what happened to this chick? And I'm like, oh, wait, no, she's on the UK version. And then I'm like, oh, wasn't the last, like, challenge this? I'm like, oh, no, that was the US version. So it's kind of confusing, but we love, like, extra content during lockdown. So, yeah, I can't complain.
We do. So I was going to recommend Schitt's Creek, but I feel like I've already done that. So I'm going to mix it up and throw in Atypical. On Netflix. It's so wholesome, and so it's basically about this boy with autism, but it's just about, like, his family life, and there's all this, there's drama thrown into it, only, like, mild drama, but it's just such an easy watch. That's another one I think I've watched, like, several times over and over again, because it's one that you can sit and actually watch, and then you can have it on again and just have it on in the background, do whatever you need to do, and you're not going to miss anything major. So yeah, definitely give that a watch. Wow, that's all we've got time for today. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss our next episode. You can also connect with us on all major social media channels and let us know on our podcast posts what you thought about the topics we've discussed today. We've been Giraffe Social Media. You've been amazing. We'll see you next time.